So when the Sony Walkman was first introduced in about the year 1980, it quickly became what was referred to as a cultural phenomenon, meaning that within the time from 1980 to 1983, there were 50 million of these Sony Walkmans sold within that period of time. And this interest and changing the way that we listen to music, because it really did alter the way that we listen to music worldwide. We could take this with us and listen to music wherever we went. This was such a big deal at the time. And so during those 2 decades, it said that there were 200 million of the Sony Walkmans sold. Now, within that period of time, they said it was marketed towards those that were between the ages of 18 and 40, but it went beyond that. I was within that age group. I won't tell you exactly where I was within that age group, but I was within that age group, and I thought these were really cool. I love the ads, but for whatever reason, I never owned one. And I have no idea now because it was such an exciting thing that was happening at that time. And I thought this would be really cool to have it. But for some reason, I never bought one. I never owned one. It was not until 2020 that somebody gave me one. And of course, it's workable, but I don't use it. Any case, the thing is 200 million. That's a lot of Sony Walkmans. And you can see where I saw so many people with them, and I thought, I must be the only person in the world that doesn't have one. 200 million. Just to give you an idea of how many that is, if you were to put these end to end, 200 million Sony Walkmans would stretch 3/4 of the way around the world. So that's a lot of Sony Walkmans and gives you an idea as to why I thought at the time I must be the only one without one. I'd be interested in hearing from anybody out there if you did have a Sony Walkman, what model you had, because there were so many different models that they made over the years, the sports models, and this particular one was a Canadian one. It had the maple leaf on it, and it was sold primarily in Canada. And then there was a US model as well. But are there any of you out there that within that age group of 18 to 40 that did have a Sony Walkman during the 80s and 90s? And how many of you didn't? Were you excited about it at the time? I'd be interested in hearing what your comments are.